Hey everyone, this is James from TeaDB. Today I am going to be talking about the Yiwu Megareport that is on the TeaDB.org site. And this is a massive tasting that I've done, over 100 teas, so go ahead, check that out. It's mostly a list of different reviews, if you will, but it's mostly just my thoughts on a bunch of different Yiwu / 6 famous mountain teas that I've consumed. And it's kind of a harkening back to these Tea of the Month reports that I was doing in kind of the 2014, 2015, 2016 range when I was just getting into tea, and basically a way to do kind of a focused tasting, get up to date on what is available and the different sorts of teas that you can try. You know, one way to do a lot of learning is to basically be concentrating on a certain aspect. So you could try a lot of teas from a certain area, or like a certain type of tea. Like I'm going to try all of the Wuis and I'm going to focus on these 2 or 3 vendors. That's basically what this is. But because I haven't done one in so long, it's kind of like the fuel in the forest is really, really dry. So it's ripe to just, have a lot of stuff to talk about. So as a result, there are a lot of different teas on here. A lot of these have just kind of I naturally just come across because someone sends me it, or I buy a cake and they send me a sample, for instance. These are some. I am actually recording this episode before I release the report, so there's a couple of teas I'm still going to add to them. So this is the Jishangju Shi Forest Allure Sen Lin Yun from Emilio, a tea I've yet to try, so I don't even know what I think about that, but you know what? I have released a report now, so you can check out what I thought of it there. And it's also just filling in different blind spots. For me, there's a couple teas that, you just never end up trying. One of those teas for me is the 2013 Baohong Yinji Junren Yufeng that Zhou Yu made. And that's kind of a classic tea that's floated around for a while. A lot of people have tried it at this point, and I'd never tried it up until this year. So wanted to drink those, see how I place them according to just my overall thoughts. Another thing I did do is tiers. It's completely subjective, so don't take it too seriously of the teas, but it's basically kind of like S, A, B, C, kind of this more modern gamer-ish tier list that you can do. And it's basically just kind of how I think of teas, and it's very much subject to my own personal preferences. So if you find your tastes are very different from me, no problem. Don't take it that seriously. Not that big of a deal. And also exploring just how the scene has changed. At different points in my tea journey, Yiwu-ish sort of tea, I see Yiwu-ish because I basically mean kind of like the 6 famous mountains areas, which is all technically Yiwu. It has been kind of over 50% or around 50% of my consumption. These days, it has gone a bit down over time. I think these days I probably drink factory tea just as much as I drink these. But they still remain some of my favorites. I'm just probably, 10 to 20% less enthusiastic about them than I was back then. And I think, one thing I do reflect on is just how my palate was defined, especially by the Yongqing Hao teas. And that was really kind of like the first boutique that really kind of gripped me, partly because it was the one that was available that was more semi-aged, and how it kind of conditioned me towards kind of this softer style of pu'er. And I've tried to unlearn some of those things. Not that I dislike those teas now necessarily, just that my opinion has changed and evolved, as most people are going to throughout time. I think it's healthy to change and evolve opinions if they need changing. I don't think digging in your feet in certain cases is necessarily what should be done. Anyways, I am getting way off track here. But there's all kinds of Yiwu teas. There's stuff that's on the less expensive side. These days, there's way more $1 Yiwus than there used to be 10 years ago when we were talking about something like Last Thoughts and whatever Essence of Tea Guofeng Chai was released. So there are all kinds of options, and the landscape has changed a lot. One particular Tea of the Month report I do recall is one from, I believe, 2015, where I was talking about semi-aged Yiwus. So basically, a lot of the teas that would qualify for this report there. And it was really slim pickings. It was a lot of inexpensive teas that, sure, could have been, fine enough daily teas if you like that sort of thing. But they were very uninspiring teas. So it's interesting just to see the way that the tea scene has evolved. These teas that were, 2013, 2014, those are young teas back then, stuff like the Junren Yufeng. Now at this point, that tea's 12 years old. So it's still young, but it's a lot less young, and it's going to present itself quite a bit differently than it did back then too. So yeah, go ahead, check out that report, and just let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel about kind of the Yiwu boutiques, which is really what this focused on. There's a couple more factory-ish type teas there. Things that, really should be more represented. It'd be nice to see more access to those sorts of teas. But anyways, don't want to get too off topic. So thank you for tuning in. Let me know how you like this episode. I will see y'all next time. Cheers.